One thing that I wanted to ask you about, whether if it's final expense, Medicare, ACA, you always want to look for a good partner. And this might be good for people that are looking to get into the insurance business or people that are stuck with an FMO they don't like. How do you recognize a good FMO?
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that you look for when looking for an FMO, when shopping in the market? Some people only look at comps.
Correct.
Actually, most people probably just look at comp levels. Who's offering me the highest comps? What do you look for? And what do you think on what are your thoughts on that?
A few things I look for. Comp is important, but I actually truly believe people can go nuts in comments if they want. I believe the culture of the organization is far more important than comp. I think comp's important, but I actually believe culture is more important than comp, because if I'm making a lot of money, making an extra 5 or 10 points, but I absolutely despise who I'm working with, it's never going to work, And so I do believe culture over compensation. I do. I also believe that they need to be ahead of the curve when it comes, or at least in line. A lot of agencies and companies, FMOs, IMOs, are just freaking dinosaurs. Carriers have always been that way at times. It's come a long way since COVID. I think it's sped up our industry and the advancements of technology. But I think they need to be on the. They need to make it easier for you to do business with them.
So just up to date on technology.
Yeah. Also being available. Like there's a lot of places like people cannot get hold of their upline or the company they work with. Like I hear that a ton. Like they won't answer the phone. I cannot get hold of them, and I'm like, dude, that's freaking crazy.
Okay. What about contracts? Do you review contracts pretty thoroughly and see like?
Most agents don't, but that's actually another really good point. Yeah, because you may end up in a model that you don't agree with or don't want to be a part of, but maybe you clicked a box. Back to the whole thing. Like, who knows?
Devil's in the details, right? So for me, when I look for an FMO, I totally agree with you. Actually, culture to me is more important than the comps as well.
Yeah.
I want to make sure the guys that I'm working with we have the same mindset, right? So if I'm partnering with anyone, and this is a big partnership, you're getting in bed with them, you want to make sure that we're on the same page, right?
Yeah, it's still a business partner at the end of the day.
Exactly. And I love the technology piece you said. A lot of them are dinosaurs. And to make life easier for you, and I'll give you a small little example. We had explored an FMO that did everything via phone and phone sales, and then there was another one that was doing e-signatures, and this is a while back, they had just figured out how to do the e-signatures a lot sooner than this group. And so that was a better technology play to go with, right? So just what they're offering you that makes life a lot easier. I totally agree with that. The contracts. So reviewing company contracts really gets me to understand how they think, right? So if they want to tie me into exclusivities and they want to tie me into non-competes that don't make any sense, I'm looking for that in agreements. I'm also looking for agreements. How soon are you going to release me? If I want to leave, are you going to release me right away?
A lot of places won't.
A lot of places won't. But if they're contractually obligated to release you, I want that in the contract. I want to see that in the contract. And if I don't, I'm going to redline it. For people that don't know what redlining is, that's when you give it to your attorney in a Word document and you have them correct that language, right? So I'm going to redline it. And then if they respond to me in a negative way, like, sorry, but we can't do this, I know I'm not going to work with this group, right? So I don't want to be held hostage, especially, if we're a few months away from open enrollment and I'm in the ACA business or in the Medicare business and OEP is coming up or AEP is coming up.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to move on to another FMO, a lot of bad actors will hold you hostage. And when you call the carriers, they say, sorry, we can't do anything about it. Now, again, the intention is good. The reason why they're allowed to do this is because a lot of bad agents rack up debit balances. And then the response is, sorry, no, I can't release you because you need to pay this debit balance back,
you
right?
owe money,
There's a lot of good reasons to hold someone hostage.
That makes sense. Like, I don't want to release somebody and be saddled with all their stuff. If you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like, I want to be some smart business person, whether I'm a downline or an upline or whatever.
So what I like to do is, if all my debt is cleared, I need a release.
Yeah.
You put that language in there, and you get a release. Yeah. So those are the 3 probably top things that I look for when I'm looking for a good FMO.
That's good.
Do you agree with that?
Yes. Love that. Love that. That's a good one.
Cool.
We on 6?
We're on 6.
Let's
we
go,
moved
man.
moved
2
around a little
more.
bit. Yeah. So, well, actually 6 was the release. So we're on 7.
Oh, you were on 7. You're right.
Yeah. So, question for you, because the final expense has been an area where not a lot of regulation is there. It's pretty free and wide open. Let me tell you what I'm hearing about final expense now.
Okay.
So final expense, one thing that I'm hearing is like e-signatures have become very popular. Interestingly enough, a lot of call centers are getting into the final expense space, right? They're doing e-signatures, but guess what?
They're creating the email.
They're doing the e-signature. The customer's not actually signing. They are doing the e-signature on behalf of the customer. What are your thoughts on...
Do they not track location and IP
Should.
and all that?
But I don't think anyone's looking.
Wow.
Let me ask you
I've
this.
heard this.
All right, let me ask you this, because you're more life insurance, right? So let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on getting consent from the consumer about e-signing on their behalf? So you get a verbal, recorded confirmation that, hey, you can go ahead and e-sign on my behalf. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you need to be in a power of attorney to actually pull that off, or for that to like hold up? Because if that was allowed, dude, no one would ever send e-apps to their clients anymore. They would just get a verbal authorization, keep it on file, do all those things. I don't know.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's a great question, because I didn't realize that was actually happening. I had heard of it. I didn't realize it was happening. But it makes sense, though, because you're right. Even carriers, because of the manpower, are actually trying to go away from voice signature and lean into e-signature, because they don't need a whole call center sitting there answering the phone all day, walking through applications for 40 minutes, you know?
So the life insurance operations that you're close with, are they more call center style, meaning you've got a bunch of agents you're giving leads to and they're just signing them up? Or are you close to more life insurance agencies that are independent field agents?
More independent field.
Okay, so you probably won't know the answer to this, but I was wondering, what do you think is a good retention rate for a final expense call center? Like how much of the business should fall off annually for it to be considered good?
I've heard as much as 40-50% falling off.
That's not good.
No, I believe 70%.
Okay, so 30%
is a
falls
solid
off.
number.
Okay, so if 30% falls off.
After like legit 12 months though, not 8 or 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll break down some real quick numbers,
Okay,
right?
good.
Final expense around a around a $350 to $400 all-in cost per acquisition from a call center standpoint, right? With a 9-month advance.
Does that math? Oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead. Keep
Sorry.
going.
Yeah. So this math includes
Okay.
marketing cost,
Okay.
payroll, the entire, operation down to the bonus penny. Every dollar you've spent.
Good.
All in cost per sale, $350. Okay.
Okay.
Now with the comp levels that are out there, and with a 9-month advance, some do a 6-month advance because if it's a guaranteed issue product, right? So you've got guaranteed issue product, you have level products that pay a lot more, right? With that blend, your all-in top-line revenue per sale from a unit economic standpoint is around 600 to let's say 620 a sale, right? And then you have a 30% fall off. So your net profit per sale
It's like $100.
is like, $350.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got 620 revenue,
Mm-hmm.
and then 30% fall off, which is what, another,
to about $200.
okay. Yeah. About $200. So yeah, you're net profiting about 100 to 150 a sale.
Well, no. Now if you take 620 and then you take off $200, you're at 420. And then if you're at 350, so you probably about $70, right?
That sounds about right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
That's not a lot.
So if 30% falls off, you're not really.
And if you start doing the math on, I love that you're doing this because I love numbers too. If you start looking at 70 divided by the 620, it's like I'm running a business on an 11% profit margin, which I've done, but it ain't fun.
It's not fun. You got to have a lot of volume,
sucks.
and you've got to penny pinch, and you got to find
Correct.
every possible way to increase your.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there.
I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel. talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Okay, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.